Well, first off, I want to apologize for taking so long for the second video. There has been a lot going on this side of the world. Of course, by this side of the world, I mean, where I'm at. A lot going on in the house, injuries, sickness, weather, you know, other things going on, all that mess. But, yeah, so just to give you a little idea, it was not all bad. I may have made my life sound a little bit worse than it actually was when I was young. But see, when I was young, it wasn't nearly as bad as it was during later years. Everything was really good. First of all, we were poor. Apparently we were extremely poor, and I had no idea. I didn't understand the concept. I had food, I had a TV, there was video games. I thought we were good. I was getting free lunch at school, which I didn't know was like something to be made fun of until later years. That's people made fun of me in later years for. Free breakfast in elementary school, which was actually really damn good because that's where you got the good milk and the good corn pops. Okay? You got to remember all that. But it wasn't always bad, I distinctly remember two different trips to Disney. I distinctly remember two. And they were paid for mostly by recycling cans. We used to walk up and down the road picking up cans that people threw out, and we lived right by the Beretta gun factory. So there was a lot of beer cans that went out. I remember one time we found like an entire 18 pack. Or it might have been a 24. It was a large pack of cans. That was there. But we would get some money and it would go into one of those giant like those 5-gallon water bottles that you get from like the places you refill and put in the machine and then like get the little cup of water out of and all that. We used to fill that up, and that's how we paid for going to Disney. Like I said, I remember distinctly twice. One I remember distinctly, the hotel that we stopped at on the way back did not allow children. So they had to sneak me in the dead of night after they'd checked in and everything. I was 4 or 5, I think. I can't give you an exact age. It's a really old memory. But, yeah. Also, I'm sorry for the moving around. I'm just holding the phone versus having it, on a stand or anything like that. I had an Atari 2600 available to me, which I believe was my aunt's, but I borrowed it for like in my possession for a while. Eventually I got a Nintendo when I graduated first grade, which is a funny story behind the Nintendo. See, one day we got out at a half day from school. Well, my grandmother had no idea that that was going to happen. Because I can't remember if it was planned that way or not. I can't remember if it was just too hot and they let us out early or whatever was going on. So, when I got home, nobody was home. Well, I used to be able to get in through the basement, and got up, called my uncle Matt, and he came and got me. Went to his place, which was they were living at my great grandmother's place after she had passed, and they had a Nintendo and they had Mario and Duck Hunt. It was my first time experiencing either, and I was instantly in love. Like video games, right then and there. That was it with me. So we did eventually get one. You know, I had one. I had a bunch of games. You know, I know that there were sacrifices that had to have been made by people as poor as we were for me to have those video games, for me to have as many books as I had. You know, the desk I had gotten in when I got into third grade. I know there was a lot of sacrifices that were made for me. You know, I have some really really good memories. I have one memory of waking up early one morning. It was my great grandmother was still alive at this point, but waking up one morning in my PJs, which I can't remember if they had footies or not. I know I was young. You know, I was young. I walked behind my grandfather on his tractor all the way up to my great grandmother's house, which was probably, I want to say it was probably a good 2 to 3 miles total. And he had no idea I was behind him. But when we got there, his mother informed him that I was behind him, and those 2 or 3 miles, I walked all the way back. But Pop was behind me, and my ass got whipped the whole way back. We talking like a nice switch from a Pacynthia bush. I never can say. I've never been able to say that word. Like, that's one of those never get it right. But everyone, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm talking about. Then some bitches hurt. We had a big old one of those bushes outside of the house. That used to be, if you really screwed up, go pick your switch. Go pick your switch. Now, we weren't beat. We weren't abused. I don't want anyone to think that part, because it normally was just like one good swat to butt, and you had to have done something like big to even get to that point. And it was normally my little brother. Well, normally it was both of my little brothers, because they both had a tendency to be bad. I got that one time coming back from my great grandmother's house, and I never wanted to have that thing on my butt again. But yeah, like I said, it really wasn't all horrible. And then, well, it was. Then came my grandfather came down with cancer. Both the lung, the liver, and the throat. He ended up having one of those things put in his throat, and it, to this day, I can't look at anyone that has one and not think of him. And it upsets the hell out of me. But, you know, he had tons of medicine to take. I think he was being well taken care of for the technology at the time. This is 1993 going into 1994. At least I think it was late 93 when they finally got him when he had got diagnosed. Might have been early 94. But I don't know the specifics. I've never asked, and I don't want to know. But they had got him some kind of special bed. And they delivered it. They put it into his room. At this point, him and Ma were sleeping in different rooms. I won't go into that. I've heard stories of the reasons why. It wasn't because of fighting or abuse or any of that shit. Sometimes it happens with older people. They, don't want to sleep in the same room again for whatever reason. That one ain't my business. I ain't gonna be disrespectful to them on that. But what happened was they delivered the bid, this special bid that was for him, and he went to bed. Oh shit! I'm sorry. And he didn't wake up. That was the night we lost Pop. My grandfather, the man who raised me until the day he died, who to me was my father. The guy who got me into wrestling every Saturday. WWF Superstars, while putting the Sunday paper together to go out the next morning because he had a paper route. The guy the man, not the guy, the man who, when I would go with him on Fridays for the Saturday morning one, he would give me enough money to go to 7-Eleven, get him a coffee. If memory serves me right, it was black. I'm not entirely sure, but I think he drunk his black. Enough for a king cone ice cream cone, and enough for one game of Golden Axe, because they had a Golden Axe arcade machine inside of this 7-Eleven, which is why that game holds such a special place in my heart. I love that game. Happens to be a very great game too, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, that morning we lost him. He passed on, and that was the day that something in my brain snapped. Something in my head just went wrong, because and this is honest to God what multiple people think is what did this. My Aunt Sandy opened the bedroom door, turned on the light, and said, "Get up, Pop's dead. Go say your goodbyes." And I was forced. Fuck, it's been 30 years. This shit is still be getting to me like this. I was forced to watch, to go see him. And to see them take him out. To essentially watch my father get taken out by, I guess, paramedics, or I don't know. It was medical people, And then at the funeral, she did it again. She forced me to go up to the casket and say goodbye. I couldn't. And if you can, if in any way whatsoever you can hear what I'm saying, Pop, I'm sorry. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. And I think that when Sandy forced me to do that, and when I saw Pop laying there, I think that's when everything broke inside me. Or at least when it started to. There's more that went with that, but everything was fine until it wasn't.